Good morning, trade pros. Rather good afternoon. Back in here for another futures update, midday update for you guys. Today's date is Wednesday, June the 5th, 2019. Let's get started with the update here. So, a couple of high impact events came out this morning. We had the May ISM Non-Manufacturing Index came in at 56.9 versus 55.4 expected. So a bit of a beat on that front. However, we had the May ADP employment change earlier in the session, came in at 27,000 added versus 185,000 expected. So this is the lowest reading since March 2010. Saw a bit of a dip in the SPOs, but now they're looking like they want to start pressing back towards that open and potentially back up into the overnight high. Bit of a choppy session really today. The room did well, myself in particular, not so much so, but that's okay. Outside of that, we had the crude oil inventory report. Big day in crude. A lot of the members caught some good moves in crude oil. Let's see what we had here. We had a big draw. We had a big build on crude, expecting minus 1.5 million draw. Came in at plus 6.8 million build, so that's bearish on that front. Gasoline as well, 0 million expected, plus 0.32 million build, and distillates as well, 0 expected, plus 4.6 build. So build across the board on all three of these, on crude, gasoline, and distillates, which is really quite bearish when all three of these reports align in the same kind of result, such as a big build across when we're expecting, pretty much flat to draw. That usually results in a nice move, and you can see that in crude today as the market is down just over 4.5% since the previous day close. So that's all we got there on the agenda. Let's just take a quick look, make sure there's nothing else on the agenda for today's session. I see we've got the US Beige Book at 2 p.m. Eastern, not the biggest impact event, still something to watch out for around 2 p.m. So as far as scheduled events, that's pretty much the cleared docket. We just have that Beige Book at 2 p.m. That's basically all that we can look forward to. Again, having a new squawk handy will be great just in case anything comes out regarding any trade wars, etc. So with that said, let's jump over to the quote board now, take a look at the charts, see where we're at, and let's go from there. So quote board, crude oil as mentioned, 662,000 contracts, nice liquidity here, above average. Daily change percentage as mentioned, minus 4.4%. So overall bearish market in crude, on the back of that EIA report. SPOs, we've got 1.12 million contracts traded so far in today's session. Daily change percentage relatively flat at plus 0.4%. Where's our previous day close? If we are up, it's got to be there. 28.06 quarter, and we're currently at the 16th. So up just a bit on the previous day's close. And like I said, it's been pretty choppy in this market today. I personally got diced up before the actual moves happen. Just overall missed limits, missed take profits, getting stopped out on break evens, etc. Bit of a frustrating one for me, but the team did well, which is what matters the most. So on the quote board, you guys can see crude is obviously the market of the day. SPOs, barely any change percentage. Now we're kind of looking to press towards those highs, so we'll watch what happens there. Crude oil also pulling off of the lows at the 50-60, coming into their first level of potential resistance here at the 5120s. So just taking a quick peek at crude, you can see that we did bounce off of S4. S4 came in at the 85s. Your S3 is at the 38s at the moment, a little bit higher than the current support level or resistance level, but that's what we'll be watching to hold. 38. The sellers can defend that level. You can see us pressing back down into S4. However, if you guys have been following us for any such time, you will know that S3 and S4 in an overall session tend to mean that we're in an oversold condition. So at this point, would not be surprised to see that range kind of hold for the remainder of that session, 50.85 to 51.38. Again, back above that S3, could see us coming back in to try to retest that 52 level right up there. For now, however, crude is following the trend of lower lows, lower highs, pulling back to a previous low. This thing should act as resistance here for another press back down. So that's what we'll be watching for on crude. Selling rips is the right way to go until you see somewhat of a double bottom and then a market structure break. So if we had another rotation back into here, then a breakout of those previous highs, rotation back in, that point you can start looking to buy. For now, selling is the right place to be. And first level 51.20s, secondary level 51.60s, and then potentially up into those 52s. So we'll be watching how that goes. Hello, Paul. On the S&P 500, we can see, market structure starting to suggest a little bit of bullishness. We came up into the R1, couldn't quite break it on that rotation up, tested it again here right around these 28.10s, and now that level's kind of holding as support. Seeing a bit of a formation happening on this 10-tick chart, which might be suggesting a little bit of bearishness starting to come in as we are starting to show a failure around the opening range low. We look to press this thing back down into that overnight low. If you can get back here, start to hammer out some support, we'll look to pick it back up. But at this point in time, downside looks pretty good. However, that being said, this has been quite a choppy session. So, could also hold these lows here where the VWAPs are sitting and press higher. So if it does pull back into here and we see this level hold the support, could look to pick something up there. However, just based on the 10-tick, what I'm seeing with that candle close is we've got a potential double top right up here, and you're seeing volume starting to pick up as we're coming down. So I think we're gonna look for press back down to that overnight low, and then we will take it from there. So long as this market stays below that R1, look to stay, press to fresh lows. If we get back up above that level, we'll look for a move back up to the 28.50s and above. So that's really what we've got on this update for you guys today. Like I said, crude, more volatile market, more directional today, and that's where most of our traders made their money. So final order on the agenda here is the TRADEPRO Performance Index. This is showing you guys how our room did today, and we closed out quite positive. 79% were green, 56 quarter were up, 22% were flat, and just about 21% were down on the session, myself as part of that tier. So 79%, good average so far in June, 73% green. We're looking to continue that trend as we move on. Excited as we've got our workshop here next week, Monday to Friday for some of the elite traders, and we're really looking forward to that. So looking to continue June strong. You guys will be trading into the end of that session. Just remember, you've got the beige book at 2 p.m. You know your key levels here, and you guys can take it off from there. So until tomorrow's update, you guys have a great session. Remember to follow those 3 rules: remain patient, remain diligent, and remain disciplined. Take care, guys. Until tomorrow, we'll see you then.